For some part two action. I left off the end of I left off day 5 right here. Day 5 half done. I'm going to try to wrap that up real quick today. Don't know if it'll be possible. We'll see. We will see. All right, so pop this over here so we get a little more space. So part 1 was sorting through this naughty or nice list. It's very long, about 1,000 to parse for a certain number of rules. Let's read part 2. Santa, it's a whole new set of rules. None of the old rules apply. Okay, so that's good to know. None of the old rules apply. There's going to be new rules. There's now 2 rules. Okay. One has 2 sets of letters that repeat twice in the string without overlapping. XY, XY, AA, but not AAA because it overlaps. Okay. It contains at least one letter which repeats exactly one letter between them. Okay, so I think that this is all going to be... So for these 2 tests, I think that I'm going to... So for the second test, let me make a quick test for it. I'm going to call it letter between... Ooh, I'll call it sandwich. That's... test sandwich. And for this one, I'm going to have sort of more of a string that we pass in for the tests. And it'll be Boolean. So let's start with all right. So this one is a test case. It's nice, so it's going to be true because it must have a sandwich. Let's just find a naughty one with no repeat signal. Okay. Be false. All right, so when we run a test here, undefined sandwich as we expected. So let's start. I don't even know if we're going to iterate. Yeah, this is going to be different. So everything's going to be different. So let's just start working here with a new function. We're going to need to pass in the whole string, right? And we're going to return a bool. We're going to return false by default unless we hit a condition where we need to return true. So the first thing we're going to do, so here's my idea for this. We're going to iterate over it, and we're going to so I want to iterate over it, and as we so it doesn't matter per se what any character is, right? All it matters is if 2 characters away, there's the same one. So if we go over a range that contains all those characters. So for example, let's say we start here at index 0. We have to say is the value at index 0 equal to the value at index 0 plus 2, right? And if we make our way down there, we should be fine, right? And as soon as we hit one where it's true, we'll return true. If we get to the end, then we will hit false. So let's start doing that. What are we going to do? Do we need indexes? Should we make this into an array first? Let's just see if we can do it without being an array. Or then we care about the index here, so you're not going to underscore that. It's not already a range. I'm going to have to make that a range, I think, or an index, or sorry, an array or a slice or whatever it is. So let's make, try to do this right? So I'm going to make a test. We'll make it before this. Let's copy. Because we're a little lazy. Oh, hold on, someone's going to come in my office. Hey.
You in the middle of stuff?
A little bit.
So Calvin's glasses are in, and I was gonna try to race out and grab him and go get them.
Yeah, you can go. She can go. Can you put the kids in front of a TV or something?
Yeah, to the note screens the entire day. Can you put them in front of the screen?
What?
Sure.
Put them in front of the screen. I'll be done in like 15, 20 minutes. 15 minutes. Okay? Thank you. I appreciate that. All right. So we're going to need to make a from school. Close the door, please. Man, I thought if I closed the door, that would be meaningful. It's not. So let's test. It's hard in Go because let's just do a short one right here because they have. No, please close the door and put on a show, okay? Calvin, Reese, put on a show for your sister, okay? Okay. It's chaos. There's a transition between mom getting home from work and take kid to doctor's appointment. All right, so we'll make this. We want to return a string populated with Q. We can just do a short one. J H B. So this is going to fail here until it passes, and then we'll go to the other one and get back to it. So we need, see the error that we don't have. What's this? Is array like a protected? Oh, it's getting mad at me about having stuff in main that I'm not using. Let's that up. Yes, please put on a show for Poppy. Thank you. You might start hearing Paw Patrol in the other room. Sorry if that is triggering for some of you. There, undefined array. Good. And we're going to accept a string and return an array of strings. We're going to start with probably going to have to leave again to get that TV on for them. They can do it every other day, but not today. All right, so what we're going to do is easy enough for, we don't care about the index, character in range, string, return array equals append return array character. Why aren't they happy about that? This one earlier, just add string there. And then at the end of this, we will return all right, so let's test that now, see if undefined array here goes away and we just have the sandwich stuff. That would mean that those tests pass. All right, so we're able to make an array, which is good. So now we're going to come back here to sandwich. And instead of getting a string, we're just going to call it input. It's going to be string, and then we're going to return are we? What are we going to do? Or are we going to call array from a string? No, we're gonna still get a string here. But the first thing we're gonna do is make, maybe not the first, but turn that into an array equals array input. All right, so now we have turned that, passed that through here and put it in there. All right, so now we're going to iterate over, oops, still need range. But we're going to range over array input here. Now we have an array, and now we can use I, because I is going to start with 0 and iterate through the string. The only problem with this is going to be that we're going to hit an error at the end when it doesn't reach, because it is going to be okay. We're going to throw this return false up here for the condition where we would expect it to go past the range. So we're going to say let's first okay. So we have a value that is going to be an integer that is the length. We're going to do a different kind of for loop here. It's not the for loop that I'm used to using, so I'm going to look it up. It's going to be the one that we increment. So it's going to be like for I equals 0 up until I, it's going to be greater than, this is while. I think it's a while loop essentially. So it's while I is less than or equal to 5. So we're going to do less than, wait. I did this again. I need to get better about doing the right. I'm going to start collapsing things when I'm done with them so that I don't accidentally edit the wrong one. Okay, so this is what we're doing. For I equals 0, while I is less than equal to, I don't need to do that. Just put it here. And I may need to fiddle with this operator there just to make sure that I'm not off by one. Do I. So let's think about it. So it's starting with 1, and then once it hits this, because we want it to be this less -2, because once it gets to -1, so my concern is that what we want is that this is going to be the last one it evaluates, right? Because if this doesn't match, so okay, let's see, we'll do it with this short one. The length would be 5, right? And 0, 1, 2. So length is 5. It's going to stop on 2. Well, the last one it's going to do is 2. So as long as it's less than 3, which is length -2. All right, I think that we got that right. Okay. All right, so what are we going to do? If we've got this array input made to an array I, and that's where the index is, equals array input I plus 2. Return true. Otherwise, it goes through everything, gets to the end, and returns false. Which problem? Do I not do a 4? Or What's your problem? Oh. Yeah, I'm getting rid of that. So we'll confused. All right. Let's make these dark again. Like the dark. And test it. And it passes. Great. So what it's doing here is checking that there's sandwiches. And now we are confident that our sandwich tests work. All right, so what should we call this other one? Twice repeated or something like that, right? I'm gonna call it to repeat. To repeat. Again, we're going to be doing Boolean. This same one should be should pass, right? Because QJ and QJ repeat. Is not because it has to repeat with one, but no pairs that repeat twice. All right, so we'll copy this one and change its place with that, and they should be true and false. On our test, undefined. To repeat. Right, so we're probably going to have to sort of do two. What's this? So we don't accidentally. All right, we're going to be sending that input string into it again, and also returning a bool. So we want it. And let's return false if we don't hit a true condition. Now for this one, I've been thinking about it, and what I wonder if we could do is make a. So my first inclination was to make a map out of each of the two characters, right? So make a key that is QJ and a value of whatever, true, right? And then have another key, JH, and so having logic that says if this key doesn't exist, make it. If this key does exist, then voila, we have a repeat. Pass is true. But that would cause a problem with AAA, right? Because the first thing it'll do is grab this. The second thing that it'll do is grab this. So I'm wondering if what I could do is a similar thing that I did here. So have it turn it into an array, make keys based on my index as I'm going through, and instead of, so the key would still be the numbers, but the value could be the index at which that first digit is, that first character. So in this case, QJ, we'll use this one. XX would have a value of 0. XY would have a value of 1. YX would have a value of 2. Right, and then when it goes to XX, it would say, oh, I would normally, I see that this exists. So it exists. My current index is 3. What is the current value for this map right now? Oh, it's 0. That is, and then do some math to see how far apart the indexes are. So the index for the first one would be 0, and the second one would be 3 and subtract them or something like that. And if that's greater than a certain amount, then they're far enough spread apart that it's okay, right? Um, I think that I think that would work. We'd have to be careful for, say, there were 4 characters in a row. Um, if it has that overlap, you just maybe ignore it and don't make a new one because you wouldn't want to like reset that value. All right, I'm gonna try that. So that's what I'm gonna try. I think it should work. Our first step is going to be sort of doing the same thing we did here, making an array. I could probably consolidate that a little bit, but I'm not going to. All right. And but we know that works, so we don't need to test it, right? So that's fun. And then we're going to say, are we going to do the same thing? I think we're going to do the same thing, but in this time, for our for loop, instead of doing the length -2, because we wanted to stop at this one, we want to stop at this one, right? Because that's going to be the last 2. So let's set this to minus, which one am I? That's -1. Okay. And this will be different, right? Because we have to make map. So let's make a map. Map equals map. The key is going to be a string, and the value is going to be an int, which is our index. What's your problem? Do I need to have a... Okay. All right. So for let's pull this out. I have a little bit of a hard time with the syntax of maps, so I'm going to look that up. Just do this. Let's just start. We'll get back to that in a second. All right, so key equals, I think there's a strings join. There we go. Strings join. Let me look at this. Because I don't want to join all of them. I just want to join 2 of them. So it only does all of them. I could make a substring of those 2. You know what I'm gonna do? I'm just gonna do a format. And this is going to be as a string, right? So z_s, comma, our input I and our input +1. Okay, so it's going to make that value, and then what it's going to do is if I did this before. I could probably go to my other days and see. This is the same string I had, but the okay, this one was helpful. Okay. If key okay equals character map key. Okay. And then this is what we do if it's there. So if it's there, this is going to be the index, right? The index would be the value of this key if it existed. So what we're going to say is if index, so this would be the first value. We want the current value. If I minus index is greater than, so it can't be 1, right? Because if in this situation, where's that example? 0, the next one would be 1. And so we're asking 1 minus 0 equals 1. It has to be greater than. It has to be greater than 1. True. So that's if it exists. Else, we don't do anything. We're just gonna. I'm saying that for this one. Otherwise, we just sort of ignore it because it exists. It's already there, but it's too close. We're just gonna skip over it. For this one, though, this is the else on if it exists or not. This one right here was the if the key already exists, evaluating how close it is. This is evaluating whether the key exists. So this is what we do when it doesn't exist, and what we're going to do is add it, and we're going to add it as rmap key, setting it equal to I. And I think that should do it. I think that should make that map, add the key if it doesn't exist, and evaluate it. So let's save this, look at our test again, and it passes. Okay, so that is able to check whether there are 2 repeating. All right, so now what we need to do is our basic integration test now, where we are going to take part 2. What did I do before? We're going to make a new input test too for this. And let's look at, there were 4 conditions. Nice, nice, naughty, naughty. So we want to part 2 data, save. Let's make a part 2. Copy. Test 2 and add all these guys. So this should be evaluating all of our rules. All right, close out of this, close out of this. Failed. We don't have part 2 yet. How are we importing it? So we got data string. We're going to return with an int, right? Because we're counting things. Right. So we're going to get all of those lines, and then we have to iterate through them. So we're going to need a total night. Well, let me pull up one. This will nice count is what I called it. Nice count equals that. Let's actually just copy this whole thing, because it's essentially going to be a lot of the same, right? So first iterative data. All right, so we are going to say sandwich. That's true. And to repeat, nice count equals 1 more, right? All right, so let's test part 2. Passes, and let's go run. Oh, I didn't ask for it to do it down here. Nine milliseconds, 55. Well, that's significantly fewer people on the nice list. Did he think that there were too many nice strings? We'll see. 1 gold star. All right. Did it. We did it, everybody. We made our way through it. Through the day. It only took an hour and a half. But that was fun because we actually did better, I, on creating actual real tests that were testing our stuff. And I think that even though it takes longer to do that, and it's silly in some ways to do it for such small projects, I think that in the end it makes things better, right? You know that everything works. You don't have to be passing printing things out all the time within your functions, because you're able to test really small units. So there, that's it. I'm going to push this out to GitHub, and I will see you all tomorrow. Should we get a sneak peek of or is that cheating? No, I don't think it's cheating. We make our own rules. Oh, that's so nice. Now we have the little stars and baubles. Let's see. Oh, geez. We'll do this tomorrow. But it's looking like I'm going to have to have 1,000 by 1,000 grid that I change things. Ugh, okay. I don't think I've ever worked with such big arrays before in Go, and I feel like iteration for this is not going to be the best way forward. I might need to think of a better way to do this. I will dream over it and try to figure out the best way forward maybe for tomorrow. In the meantime, I will take off. Have a good evening. See you all tomorrow.